The world turned its eyes to Cannes 2025 expecting glamour, art, and global cinema. But no one, absolutely no one, anticipated what would unfold on the red carpet that evening. A moment so perfectly orchestrated, yet utterly unexpected, that it left the entire Riviera in stunned silence. This was not just another celebrity sighting. It was the perfect collision of legacy, influence, and destiny. For months, whispers had floated through elite circles. Rumors of an appearance, a reveal, something never before seen. And at the center of it all stood two names carrying immense weight across industries: Frédéric Arnault, heir to the LVMH empire, and Lisa Manaband from Blackpink, the enigmatic global icon who had redefined fashion, music, and now cinema. Cameras began flashing in overdrive. Crowd that had come to see A-list stars found themselves gasping, not for actors but for a woman in a striking, sculpted black velvet gown with a crimson underlay. Her silhouette owned the carpet. Her name? Lisa. Just Lisa. No last name needed. Every step she took was the embodiment of elegance, power, and something else, something unspeakably captivating. And then he emerged. Frédéric Arnault, known to the world as the son of the richest man in Europe and CEO of l'Europeana, did not arrive quietly. No, he arrived like a storm. Not with flash, but with presence. Controlled, composed, and commanding. The energy shifted. And in that moment, it became crystal clear. This was not an ordinary public appearance. This was personal. Months before, Lisa had stunned audiences at the Met Gala 2025, wearing a dual-toned masterpiece that blurred the line between classic elegance and modern rebellion. She then captivated the Oscars with a performance that critics described as hauntingly magnetic. And in HBO's newest season of The White Lotus, her on-screen presence sent social media into meltdown, proving she was more than just a pop icon. She was now a force in acting. What Cannes revealed was not a surprise rooted in gossip. It was something deeper, something real. As Lisa stood poised under the spotlights, a quiet murmur rippled through the VIP section. Frédéric approached her with the grace of a man who was not just accompanying a global star, but honoring her. And in his hands, something small yet heavy with meaning. A bespoke Bulgari creation, one of a kind, set with a rare Sicilian red sapphire symbolic of passion, protection, and power. Lisa's eyes widened for a second, just a flicker, but it was enough. Enough for everyone watching to feel the shift. To recognize the gravity of what they were witnessing. This wasn't staged. It wasn't part of a PR stunt. This was legacy, respect, and a grand gesture of admiration shared not through words but through intention. Their chemistry wasn't loud. Didn't need to be. It was elegant, controlled, and impossible to ignore. Every gesture, his hand guiding her forward, her slight lean toward him, felt organic, honest, and deeply intimate. This moment at Cannes wasn't just for the fans. It was a statement to industries, to media, and to history, that the paths of the luxury world and the pop culture world had converged. And their point of contact? Lisa. Even the press couldn't contain their intrigue. Headlines exploded within minutes. Lisa and Arnault, Cannes' most unexpected duo, when luxury met legend, and the moment the Riviera held its breath. What few people know is that the connection between Frédéric and Lisa Manaband wasn't born overnight. Sources close to both suggest they've crossed paths numerous times. Quiet dinners in Italy, art exhibitions in Paris, private showcases in Seoul. But Cannes was different. Cannes was public. And yet, in the public gaze, they never lost their mystique. That is the real brilliance. Midway through the festival, whispers of Lisa's next project began circulating. Some speculated a fashion line under her creative direction, others hinted at an executive production role in an international drama. And with Frédéric's expanding influence beyond timepieces into high fashion and film financing, the possibilities became almost too perfect to ignore. As the sun set on Cannes and the after-parties ignited across the French Riviera, the moment remained fixed in everyone's mind. This wasn't about a couple. It wasn't even about a surprise. It was about symbolism. the passing of creative and cultural torches from one era to another. So what did the world witness that night? A new standard. A moment where legacy recognized talent, where power bowed to grace, where one grand surprise shifted the landscape of culture in less than 60 seconds. If you felt your heart race as you watched it unfold, that wasn't by accident. That's what happens when reality exceeds imagination. Before this video ends, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Because if you thought this was unforgettable, what's coming next will leave you speechless. This was not just Cannes. This was the beginning of a new era. But something felt different this time. Not just because it was Lisa. Not just because it was Cannes. But because when the camera cut to Frédéric Arnault standing just a few steps behind her, watching her like no one else in the world existed, something shifted. The air in the room changed. Journalists stopped typing. Paparazzi held their breath. Every lens turned. Lisa Blackpink, wearing a custom couture gown that shimmered like liquid gold under the Cannes sunlight, radiated presence. And then, just when everyone thought the moment had peaked, Frédéric stepped forward. No words. Just a gesture. A subtle nod. A whisper to an assistant. And suddenly a box emerged, velvet black, no branding, no label, just secrecy wrapped in elegance. He handed it to her. She looked at him, confused but smiling. A moment passed. Then two. She opened it. Inside, a one-of-a-kind, unreleased piece from Loro Piana's upcoming 2026 collection, designed exclusively for her. Not just a gift. Not just a gesture. But a statement. A statement of power. Of legacy. Of something deeper. You could hear the camera shutters explode. Gasps. Whispered translations in every language. But what they didn't see, what only those in the front rows noticed, was the small, barely visible engraving inside the piece. The letter L. The letter F. And a date. Not today's date. A future one. May 24th, 2026. A year from now. Why? What was its meaning? Was it a promise? A plan? A private milestone only they understood? The internet didn't wait. Within minutes, forums from South Korea to Germany were on fire. Reddit threads exploded. Twitter, no X, lit up in every time zone. Was this a soft launch? A coded proposal? A business alliance? Or a power move by the Arnault Empire to seal something the world hadn't seen yet? What no one could deny was this: the narrative had changed. Lisa Manaban was no longer just a guest. She was the headline. But the story wasn't over. Just hours after the red carpet, Lisa's team released a cryptic behind-the-scenes clip. No dialogue. Just visuals. Lisa in a marble hallway. Frédéric standing by a window, looking out at the Mediterranean. A close-up of the gift box being wrapped, not by staff but by Frédéric himself. No context. No voiceover. Just mood. And then, one frame at the end. Barely a second. A flash of a location tag, Florence, Italy. The birthplace of LVMH's most secretive design studio. What's coming? Is this a limited edition campaign? Is Lisa designing something with them? Or is this the beginning of a narrative that stretches across fashion, cinema, and luxury? Whatever it is, it's working. Audiences aren't just watching, they're re-watching. Pausing. Zooming in. Sharing theories. And that's when you realize, this isn't a love story. This isn't marketing. This is strategy. Precision. Art. Lisa Manaban is not a product of the K-pop machine anymore. She's a global architect of narrative. And Frédéric Arnault? He's not just the heir of an empire. He's writing a new rulebook. One where luxury isn't sold, it's felt. And the first chapter? Started today at Cannes. Now if you made it this far, you felt it too. The shift. The electricity. Question that lingers after the credits roll. Because this wasn't just a celebrity appearance. This was architecture. A blueprint. Carefully drawn by two minds who understand that silence speaks louder than noise, and mystery moves faster than any headline. Lisa stood there with grace, but what truly shook the world wasn't just her presence, it was the unspoken power in her stillness. And Frédéric, usually known for numbers, brands, and boardrooms, revealed something else tonight, a softness. A calculation not of profit, but of timing. A gesture that hit deeper than words. They didn't say a thing. And that's what made it unforgettable. 'Cause in 2025, where everyone's shouting to be seen, these two made the world lean in just by pausing. Just by being. Just by letting the moment breathe. And that's the real magic. Maybe that's why it shook everyone. Because in that one shared glance, in that one private gesture in the most public place, they reminded us of something we've forgotten. Real moments don't need to explain themselves. They just live. And echo. And last. So here's what you do now. Rewatch the moment. Frame by frame. You'll see it differently this time. Share this story. 'Cause no one else is telling it this way. And remember this date. Because if you think today was big, just wait until what's coming next. This isn't the end of the story. It's only the beginning. What happens next? And maybe that's the real genius behind today's moment. It's not just about the surprise. It's about the silence that follows it. The kind that keeps you thinking. Kind that brings you back. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notification bell. Stay tuned and be ready. Because when they move again, the world will feel it. And you'll be here to witness it first.